The sun hung low on the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the campus of Amani Secondary School in Nairobi, Kenya. Students moved about, their laughter and chatter filling the air as they made their way to their dormitories after a long day of classes. Among them, two figures sat apart from the rest, huddled close together on a one wooden bench beneath an ancient tree. Zuri Kimani, a slender girl with bright eyes and a very beautiful smile. She leaned closer to Jabari Mbongo, her voice barely above a whisper. She spoke. "Tell me again about the house we'll have someday, Jabari," she urged, a dreamy smile playing on her lips. Jabari, a tall and handsome boy with a confident air that came from years of privilege, chuckled softly. He wrapped an arm around Zuri's shoulder. "It will be a grand house. It will be on the coast with windows that look over the ocean. And we'll wake up every morning to the sound of waves crashing on the shore." Zuri closed her eyes, letting Jabari's words paint a vivid picture in her mind. She could almost feel the sea breeze on her skin. She could taste the salt in the air. It was a far cry from the tiny, cramped house she shared with her parents and 5 siblings in the rural village of Kitu. But in a moment like this, it felt tantalizing within reach. "And what else?" she prompted, eager to hear more about the life they dreamed of living together. Jabari continued, "We'll have a big garden where you can grow all the flowers and vegetables you want. And of course, a library filled with books. The library will be built from floor to ceiling. You'll never run out of things to read. I know you love reading." Zuri's eyes swelled with joy at the thought. Books had been her escape, her windows to worlds beyond the confines of her village. It was her love for learning and her exceptional academic performance that earned her the scholarship to Amani Secondary School, a prestigious institution in Kenya. As the only scholarship student in her year, Zuri had initially felt out of place among her wealthy classmates. But from the moment Jabari had first smiled at her in their shared literature class, she had formed a deep friendship with Jabari. Despite the vast differences in their backgrounds, they had connected over a shared love of books, their dreams, and love for each other. "It sounds perfect," Zuri said. "But as long as we are together, I'll be happy anyway." Jabari pressed a gentle kiss to the top of her head. "And you'll be my love. Nothing will keep us apart. I promise to always love, cherish, and respect you." They were young, in love, and had hope for the future. But little did they know that fate had other things in store for them. The end of the year at Amani Secondary School came all too quickly as their classmates excitedly discussed their plans for the university and the future careers. Zuri and Jabari clung to each other, trying to savor every last moment they had together. On their last night at school, they went to their favorite spot under the ancient tree. "I don't want to say goodbye," Zuri whispered, her voice thick with unshed tears. She knew that come morning she would be returning to her village while Jabari would be leaving for London for his university studies. Jabari held her hand. "This isn't goodbye, Zuri. It's just see you later. I promise I'll find a way to contact you. I'll write letters and I'll visit you as soon as I can." Zuri nodded, wanting desperately to believe him, but a small voice in her mind whispered doubt. How could their love survive the vast distance and the differences in their lives? As the dawn broke, they shared one last kiss before parting ways. Zuri watched, her heart breaking, as Jabari's family convoy of sleek cars disappeared down the long driveway of their prestigious school. The journey back to the village was a blur of tears and aching silence. When Zuri finally arrived home, the familiar sights and sounds of her village felt strange and confining after 4 years of being away. Her family welcomed her with open arms, proud of their daughter who had achieved so much. But as she settled back into the rhythm of the village life, Zuri couldn't help but feel that a part of her had been left behind at Amani Secondary School and with Jabari. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Zuri threw herself into helping her family, working in the fields and tutoring younger children in the village. She clung to the hope that any day a letter would arrive from Jabari. But as time passed, her hope began to fade. Little did she know that across the ocean in London, Jabari was also facing his own struggles. University life was a whirlwind of new experiences and challenges. He tried repeatedly to contact Zuri, sending letters to her village address and even attempted to find a way to call her. But she had no phone, and with the unreliable postal services, all his efforts went futile. As the year went by, both Zuri and Jabari found their paths diverging further and further from the dreams they had once shared under the ancient tree. Years passed, and life took Zuri and Jabari down the unexpected path. Zuri had found love again in her village with a kind-hearted farmer named Adamu. They married in a joyous ceremony filled with traditional music and dance, and soon welcomed two beautiful children into the world. Despite the hardship of village life, Zuri found contentment in her family and has worked as a teacher at the local school. However, fate had other plans. On a stormy night, Adamu was repairing their leaky roof, and a sudden gust of wind caused him to lose his balance, and he fell. The fall was fatal, leaving Zuri a young widow with two children to support. Grief-stricken and sad, Zuri knew she needed to make a change for her family. With a heavy heart, she made a difficult decision to leave her village and seek opportunities elsewhere. The transition to the city was far from easy. Zuri and her children moved into a tiny cramped apartment in one of Nairobi's bustling neighborhoods. She managed to secure a teaching position at the local school, but her salary was barely enough. It only covered their basic needs. Each day was a struggle to make ends meet, juggling work, taking care of the children, and a battle against poverty. Meanwhile, across the ocean, Jabari's life had taken its own turn. After completing his studies in London, he returned to Kenya and quickly climbed the corporate ladder, becoming one of the country's most successful young entrepreneurs. From the outside, his life seemed perfect, a beautiful home, thriving businesses, and a family of his own. But behind closed doors, Jabari's home was far from ideal. His wife Amani, a woman from a prominent family whom he had been made to marry out of societal expectations than love, proved to be unfaithful. A constant infidelities and disregard for their family wore Jabari down. Despite his best efforts to salvage their marriage for the sake of their two children, he eventually filed for a divorce. The legal battle was messy, with the public splashing Jabari's private pains across the headline of Nairobi's gossip column. Though he won the custody of the children, the experience left him disillusioned and wary of relationships. Throwing himself into his work, Jabari spent long hours at the office, leaving little time for his personal life. His children, two boys and a girl, were primarily cared for by nannies and housekeepers. Despite his wealth, Jabari felt a sense of failure when it came to his family life. He often wondered what would have happened if he had really married Zuri. One evening, as he sat in his office, his personal assistant came in. "Mr. Mbogo," she said, "I hope you don't mind disturbing you, but I'm worried about the children. They need stability, especially with their education. Perhaps it's time to consider hiring a full-time living teacher." Jabari leaned out and looked at Kioni. He knew she was right. His children deserve better. "You are right," he said. "Boy, please, can you handle the hiring process? Find someone qualified, patient and kind. Someone who can give the children the attention and the love they need." Kioni nodded, relieved that employer had taken such suggestion to heart. "I'll start the search immediately." Little did either of them know that this decision would set in motion a chain of events. Zuri walked up the stairs to her tiny apartment, her feet aching from another long day of teaching. As she searched for her keys in her bag, she could hear her children's excited voice through the door, chattering with their neighbor who walked after them. "Mama is home," Imani cried out as Zuri entered. Her son Jumbo ran to hug her. Zuri smiled. "Hello, my babies. Were you good for Mama today?" The elderly neighbor nodded. "They're always good. But Zuri, you look tired. Have you had anything to eat today?" Zuri lied. Yes. In truth, Zuri often skipped meals to ensure her children had enough to eat. "I am fine, Mama. And thanks for always caring. Thanks for the love." After Mama and Jerry left, Zuri set about preparing a meal of ugali and skuma wiki for the children. As they ate, Imani chatted about her day at school. But Jomo asked, "Mama, why can't we have nice things like other children at school? And why do we have to live in this tiny apartment?" Zuri was shaking with a question, and she reached out to touch Jomo's hand. "I promise you, we'll have everything we need one day. But for now, we have everything we need. We have each other, and that's the most important thing." While she lay in bed that night, Zuri couldn't shake off the question her son had asked. She longed to give her children a better life, but no matter how hard she worked, it never seemed to be enough. She prayed and hoped for a miracle. The next day, as Zuri was preparing her class material, the school principal called her into his office. "Zuri," he said, "I have received an interesting job opportunity that I think might suit you. It is a position as a living teacher for a wealthy family. The pay is much, more than what we can even afford to pay here." Zuri had "I don't know, what about my children?" The principal smiled. "The position includes accommodation for you and your children. And the best part is, it is with one of the most prestigious families in Nairobi. I have a feeling that this could be a life-changing opportunity for you, Zuri." Zuri left the office with mixed emotion. Could she leave her children behind or take them back again when they just settled into Nairobi? That evening, after much prayer and contemplation, Zuri made up her mind she was going to apply for the position. As Zuri went for the interview, she saw the beautiful mansion and she knocked at the gate. A voice answered. It swung open and Zuri stepped into a new world. She walked up as she noticed the driveway, the garden, the exotic cars, the water fountain and the swimming pool. She wondered about the family she might soon work for. An elegant lady greeted her at the door. "Welcome, I am Kioni. Please come in." As Zuri followed Kioni through the opulent walls, she couldn't help but notice the affluence and the beauty of the house. She was nervous as she sat down. Kioni smiled at her. "I'll be conducting the interview today." What followed was a thorough and professional interview. Kioni asked Zuri's qualification, and with time, Zuri found herself relaxed as they spoke passionately about her love for teaching and education to young minds. After the interview, Kioni smiled. "I am impressed with your credentials, and I believe you'll be an excellent fit for this position." Zuri asked, "Does that mean I've gotten the job?" "Of course, but that will depend on how soon you can start." Overwhelmed with joy and relief, Zuri accepted the offer. As she left the estate, her mind was buzzing with plans and dreams for this new chapter in her life. The weeks flew by as Zuri settled into her new role. Her children were so happy when they got to the house. It was a new world from what they had always known. Zuri threw herself into work, developing engaging lessons for her 3 children. Though she hadn't met the elusive owner of the estate, she was grateful for the opportunity and the stability the house provided for her and the children. One evening, long after the children had gone to bed, Zuri was working late in the study, preparing materials for the next day's lesson. Lost in concentration, she didn't hear approaching footsteps. "You're working very late," a deep, achingly familiar voice said from the doorway. Zuri's head snapped up, her voice widening in shock. There, leaned against the door frame, that unreadable expression, stood a face she thought she would never see again. Jabari, she whispered, hardly daring to believe her eyes. Jabari stepped into his room, his gaze never leaving her face. Hello, Zuri. It's been a very long time. Zuri stood up. I don't understand. What are you doing here? Jabari smiled. This is my home. The impression of Zuri like a tidal wave. She had been working for Jabari all along, teaching his children, living in his home. How could she not have known? It's good to see you, Jabari said softly. And Zuri managed a smile. You too, Jabari. Zuri's emotion. She was shocked, she was confused, and a spark of joy at seeing Jabari again. Jabari took a step closer, his eyes intent. I never stopped thinking about you, Zuri. The air between them cracked with tension and unresolved feelings. Zuri's heart pounded as Jabari moved closer. Zuri, he whispered, touching her hand. Suddenly, a crash echoed from upstairs, followed by a child's cry. They both froze, the spell broken. I should go and check and know what's happening. Zuri rushed out of the room. Of course, we'll talk later. As Zuri left the room, her mind was in turmoil. What does this mean? And more importantly, what did it mean for her heart? She had never truly forgotten Jabari. She often wondered what life would have been if she had been married to him. What does it mean for Jabari and Kimani? And what would happen next? Please watch out for part 2. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.